Hello, welcome back to another day of Axie Infinity Origins Season 1 Meta Analysis and Team Highlight. So let's just see what's up for today. Okay, Sushi 1 still on top now. It's pretty strong. Wow, climbing up quite a bit in terms of the stars as well, because I think 1800 is the mark for a Challenger, and there are quite a number of players getting the Challenger already. And as you can see, yep, so pretty similar kind of build, because at this point it is day 7 and it's the last day in which you can cannot buy runes and charms yet, because they'll be unlocked after 7 days from day 1. So basically day 8 tomorrow will be actually the day that will be interesting to see, because people do get access to the runes and charms that they can buy. And so now today is still relying on the stuff that we can craft at the moment, so that's why it's probably not like the most optimal build, and I'm pretty sure people's build will improve, especially those on top who will probably buy the best runes and charms to stay on top. And as you can see, there are quite a number of sustains and also aggro with different types of aggro as well. The more typical one with aqua and a bird as the attacker, and of course the more combo one with the beast fury mode kind of thing. And then sustain wise, we still see quite a lot with mostly the arcane protection, but you do see the types. I think this might be a poison build as well, so that you do get a poison build in the mix with pretty strong runes. Yeah, I think this is how the meta is for today. So quite a variety of teams with sustain, poison, and typical aggro, and also the beast aggro, the rage aggro on top. Yeah, so this is turning out as pretty good, I would say. You do queue into different matchup, not just like every time you do queue into just one matchup, so I think that's pretty healthy at this point. But I do want to see how the balance changes will be like. And today I actually want to feature basically a sustained build that actually does not use any well, definitely not the arcane protection, because we've featured before, but also not everybody has arcane protection. And I do want to feature one that is still pretty high on the ladder, all right, with only common and rare charms, and which is relatively accessible, I must say. And so yeah, see how they get to be so strong. So let's just see. So there's Meta Killer.SK's team with a reptile at the front, and then 2 plants, and let's see what's inside, meaning what the Axies like. And I assume the reptile is the back. And let's see what is the back look like. Okay, so first of all is we do see a lot of healing cards, so I think cleanse very important. And then the damage boost, I don't think it's too important in this case, because they don't have the arcane protection kind of thing, but might still be useful because of the Kataro, and they do have War Gecko as well. So this is more of a War Gecko kind of sustain build, which you might not see as much with the arcane protection. So this is a different take, which is more of, I would actually call it the traditional way of sustain. When I say traditional, I mean I guess thinking about season 0, because with the War Gecko, yeah, you do take a lot less damage, and this is literally 1 energy heals for 80, which can be pretty strong when you are one-on-one. And this deals extra damage. Hopefully you would want this to cost 0. And it's also another way to deal with things like Mavis, so that could be pretty useful. Applying bleed also is important. I think a lot of ways to chip away from opponent's health as well with the bleed as well. Yeah, and then also the reflect. All right, so reflect, bleed, do try to deal more damage to the opponent. So it's not just about healing and not dealing damage. Okay, so this is the back, and so the mid. I think, yeah, I do see strawberries quite a bit nowadays, so strawberry might be getting into the meta. So what strawberry shortcake does is that it's a 2 cost card, so it's actually quite not that easy to use, but it is used during some sort of downturns where you do want to generate 2 strawberries. Looks very tasty, but they are, because each strawberry heals for 60, and you do get 2 of them, meaning it's a 2 cost heals 120, but you can choose when to use it. So it's kind of banking the healing for later. You do get to keep it in your hand because it's retained. And then, okay, Fear also disrupts the opponent quite a bit in terms of the shield, and you do get some card draw with the shield as well. One interesting thing, it is the Innocent Lamb. So the Innocent Lamb can turn into basically either the puppy, which could be interesting because it does gives you the so-called a passive healing. Whenever you draw it, you do heal. But if you do want to get a bit more healing, you can even turn it into a strawberry, I think. Or you can actually, if you do have strawberry, yeah, I don't. Let me think. I actually don't know if you can actually turn it into a strawberry because it does say this Axie skills card, and I assume the strawberry doesn't actually belong to this Axie. Not too sure actually. So we might see in the gameplay, but a lot of healing for this one. And let me see the front. The front does do have some damage card, right? So it does have the Confuse, which weakens opponent's draw. Sakura, I think it's quite a staple for a sustain build. And then yeah, Silent Whisper I think is a must as well usually, because you do want to have an answer to poison build. Watering Can pretty interesting, more healing as well, and I think yeah, Carrots is a bit of damage. Again, very interesting part because you do want to banish some cards. So yeah, you do get rid of these 2 cards, the Sakura and the Carrots, once they're used. And the Leaf Bug also very interesting. A lot of passive, like once drawn, it has something. So even though you don't play it, it still has some value, which is very interesting. And in terms of the runes, you already saw, it is pure skill. And then the Leftover Potion, very important, I would say. It does give you passive healing, and pure skill really just improves your shield and I think and healing, if I remember correctly. Oh, I think it's just in general the Axie's card. But yeah, so let's actually go into the battle and see how this team functions. Okay, let's just pause the video here and we can actually see the runes and charms. Okay, so let's go into it. So yes, so pure skill does boost the healing and shield, and I must say the damage doesn't matter as much. It's the healing and shield that matters. So if you do have like one of this rare runes, which is not too difficult to get, then definitely go for it. In terms of runes and charms, yes, that's what I would expect. So this is like one of the keys, I would say, is one of the ones that is pretty difficult to get, and that is the taunt, I think. Right, this is assume it's an epic, if I remember correctly, rune, and it does allow this Axie to apply taunt whenever this card is used. And of course, you do want to use Walk Echo and taunt the opponent so that you do take 25% less damage when the opponent attacks you. So that is pretty strong. So yeah, so this, I think this rune adds a lot to the team, because without that, that charm, because without that charm it's going to be a bit harder. Do get the leaves as well. So interestingly, might have some leaves as well. And then yeah, so this is pretty simple. So I would say the only difficult thing to get about this particular build is really this particular charm, and it could be a determining factor. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so the opponent unfortunately gets into a lot of the free energy card, and okay, interestingly play a lot of cards. There's a lot of cycling of cards. Okay, let's see how this goes. So Meta Killer.SK does put on the shield and yeah, the Sakura. Interesting to put the shield at the back, and yeah, the front looks like it might go down pretty soon. So let's see. So but do a lot of cards available because of this pure water. So shielding, healing a bit, and yep, just apply a lot of shield, and shielding the back as well. It's very interesting as always that they shield the back. Not too sure actually what the purpose is in this case, but yeah, I guess I'm just not familiar with this build enough and maybe that's like they want to protect their win con. Okay, so this is where War Gecko comes in, taunting the opponent, so the opponent is forced to hit into the War Gecko. I mean the back, getting the Kotaro value, now shielding as well, so the opponent is very hard to actually deal damage to the back. Okay, Chubby pretty smart, I would say, at least deal some damage to the other Axie. And yeah, interesting to push some shield as well. Let's see. Okay, so do go for the attack now, trying to chip away, and yep, shield up and shield up, so very hard to get through with the this steel skin buff and so many shields. So opt for the AoE. Do get the fear, which actually hurts the opponent a bit, and they have to play around it in a way. So do go for the AoE. So the front is actually going down pretty soon, but I think the front has done its job in a way. So does get a passive heal, and not heal, the shield, and also just shielding up in the hope that the opponent can't get through, and the opponent doesn't have throw star, I don't think, so actually can't really get through. But interestingly, being able to target the mid and deal massive damage to hit the mid, which is pretty lucky, I think. I didn't actually see the charm, so I don't think it's a wind charm, right? So I think it's just luck, but unfortunately for Meta Killer.SK, didn't get the Kotaro value this time round. So actually getting quite close. Opponent might be able to get through. Let's see. There's literally no shield for this turn. Yeah, opponent's going to get through the front, and also deal a bit of damage to the mid. Yeah, so I would say it's pretty, looking, the opponent is actually making quite a lot of progress. So let's see how Meta Killer.SK deals with this situation. Okay, very lucky to get the War Gecko now. I'm pretty sure War Gecko will be played. Actually no, just letting the mid goes down, and getting the most strawberry as possible, meaning future banking for future heals, which is also a very interesting play. Let's see if the hand will be full. I actually don't know. I don't play sustain, so I actually don't know when the hands will be full. I think the maximum you can have is 10 or 9 cards. Not too sure, but okay, now it's really just about shielding until the Blood Moon comes. Yep, Blood Moon does come now, and let's see if the opponent managed to sleep them. Okay, oh my god, a lot of fear, which is going to be quite tough for the opponent. I think the fear is going to be tough. So the opponent actually quite smart, saving the Rosa. Yeah, unfortunately didn't get the Kotaro value as well. So shield, 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 and saving the strawberry is actually very important for this kind of scenario, where at the end you do have an extra kind of healing to out heal. Yeah, so very smart. Just really saving all the strong card at this point, and now Meta Killer.SK can't play any shield, but unfortunately for the opponent, they do have the revenge shield. Yeah, and so the sleep strategy actually didn't quite work out, and now I'm just using the small kind of heal for now. Yeah, so very unfortunate for the opponent, because they managed to have the revenge shield while this during the sleep turn. So this is I don't think there's any way in which the opponent can get through, even with the Blood Moon. But without that shield, I think the opponent was actually very close in bringing Meta Killer.SK down. And yeah, so it's really just down to whether Meta Killer.SK draw the revenge shield just now. I feel with that revenge shield, it will be very close to getting KO'd over there. And now this is where Strawberry is coming in clutch and just healing the maximum possible. And if the Meta Killer.SK survive this turn, I think it should be GG. And yeah, really, I think the Strawberry, you can see, also save that save Meta Killer.SK the game, I think, because in this case, just surviving at 9, and as long as there's some sort of attack card, yep, and that is GG. So very, very close still, I must say. If not for a lot of those shield and and the Revenge Shield would have been the other way around. So I'll say this one quite lucky in that sense. Yeah, to actually be able to get the win. Okay, let's see another game, shall we? Yeah, so that one just now was pretty close. So let's see how this one is going to be. Yeah, so at least you kind of know how Strawberry can work at the late game, while you do want to out-heal your opponent with the Blood Moon as well. Okay, opponent having a pretty good start. Yep, so Meta Killer.SK and Challenger at that point. The opponent does get some aggro start. Let's just see how they're gonna do it. Okay, so do the Kataro. Unfortunately, didn't get the value, so unfortunately, I'll have to do the Sakura and give up the Strawberry, which I think is still not the worst of turn. But of course, you always want Kataro to gain the extra value if possible. Yeah, and I think the front is going down pretty quickly, which can be quite tough. Okay, so let's see what Meta Killer.SK can do. Okay, a bit of a heal. Innocent Lamp for, interesting, for the secret. In this case, opt for the card draw, I think. Not too sure why. Maybe they feel like they are a bit behind and do need the card draw. But one do get into a pretty good turn. Yeah, managed to KO the front from here with the extra energy. So yeah, this is when aggro draws well, this is how it feels like basically. Yeah, you just do insane stuff like 4 energy of very strong attack per turn, and this is well, a typical aggro how it works. And okay, so Walk Echo this time. Now I think opponent might have a tough time to get through unless they do have some extra energy stuff. Let's see what the opponents have in store. Okay, just play that first. Okay, so this applying bleed could be important. Bubble, yeah, oh, opponent, it is a very strong bubble team as well, so managed to get some bubble values. Yeah, bubble value is always good, but still not easy to get through. Still putting a lot of shield, and yep, heal. I guess the bleed does hurt a bit, but yeah, opponent getting another 4 energy turn, it looks like, and also using all the value from the bubble and then getting more bubbles. I think really the bubbles could win the opponent the game. So dealing a lot of damage, but I think at this point opponent has used all their extra energy cards in terms of Corntail and Nemo. So let's see. Okay, now shielding the front because no longer is taunted, and yep, getting the heal as well. Actually interesting to do Ronan first. I'm not too sure why that's the play. Yeah, maybe just try to play around some fear kind of thing. I assume that's how it is. The Void is drawn this turn, but in this case it's shielding. Just, well, I mean, opt for not dealing damage, and also interesting to not opt for the Walk Echo. I assume that, I did see the Walk Echo just now. Okay, yeah, so opponent playing around the fear very well, I would say. Because you really don't want to shuffle Confused card into your deck. Especially against a sustain build, because any miss damage can be quite rough. Okay, so Walk Echo coming again, and then yep, shield, heal. Okay, yep. So now I feel like without the Strawberry might be a bit tough, and I don't think there are any ways to get Strawberry now in terms of like, not when, well, this can still get Strawberry, it's just that you have to give up 2 energy for it, and it might be quite lethal to not put 2 energy of shields instead. And the opponent getting another round of bubbles. This is crazy. 3 more bubbles. I think that value really wins the opponent the game here. Okay, the Blood Moon is here, but might be a bit too late because I mean, for Meta Killer.SK is because they actually don't have as much healing. You can see, right, every turn the back of Meta Killer.SK is getting hurt a bit more and more, and maybe yeah, it's just a lot harder to out heal. So you can see the back is actually going down because there's just not much healing. Let's see how the opponents do. Unfortunately for the opponent this turn, I don't think they can go through the shield until they opt for actually keeping those cards because there's really no point hitting into the shield. So a very smart play. Okay, now the strawberry is here. Does get the Katara value, which is good. Yeah, but the back going down is really a bit tough. So I'll probably play the strawberry just to try and now keep the mid alive instead of the back. Let's use one, and don't want to use both because you don't want to so-called waste some of the healings. Okay, more bubble. I don't think it will get to another round of bubble, but who knows, maybe it can. Yeah, so unfortunately for Meta Killer.SK, it's gonna be a bit tough to... Actually, no, it's actually very close. It's just down to, well, these 2 turns, I think. But unfortunately didn't get enough shield, and so have to go for the attack. If they get actually 1 shield this turn instead of the attack, I think it will help a lot. But yeah, so I think it's really just down to this turn not getting the shield and instead getting the attack card. And I feel like it is gonna be a draw. If they get a shield, actually it could have been a win instead of a draw, and but it does feel like it is a draw. Yeah, if they get the shield, I think it could have been a win instead of a draw for Meta Killer.SK. So okay, so very close to our opponent, but it is a draw, which is pretty fair results in a way. Yeah, very, very good game, and yeah, so that is a draw. Okay, maybe let's okay, that's probably another draw, and maybe let's see this game and see how the opponent can get through. So this is going to be a bit of a longer episode because sustain builds does take longer, and also featuring 3 different games. So sustain builds, you do get quite a number of draws as well. Okay, let's see how this one goes. Okay, I assume these are similar in terms of yep, okay, and then yeah, the opponent pretty strong, I would say, in terms of what they have, a 3 free energy. I would say typical, but do have the bubble. I think that is probably the key. So let's just see how this one goes. Okay, starting with the shield. Interesting that I didn't see Sakura. I'm not too sure. Oh, Sakura is not innate anymore, right? Or is it? I actually don't remember. Sakura, it is innate, but not opt to not play it, I think, and opt to play. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Play the shield instead. I'm not sure if Sakura... Oh wait, Sakura... Oh, they saved the Sakura for this turn. Okay, yeah, my bad. I was like, hey, where is the Sakura? But they are... I think they should play the Sakura this turn. Okay, which is an interesting play because sometimes you might want to save the Sakura for next turn to play it and play the shield instead. So, yeah, that's, of course, like, I am not a sustained player, so I don't really think about how to or when to play Sakura, but this is an interesting play because you do get to keep a card for free in turn 1. Okay, but you can see the front is getting chipped down quite a lot, but you do get the strawberry, so this is the part where you do lose a bit of tempo in terms of shield to sacrifice that to get the strawberry, and I think the front is going down with the extra energy. So that might cost Meta Killer.SK the game, but I think the front has done its job. Opponent very, very, I won't say lucky, but good with the damage as well in terms of KOing the front very efficiently, and so did manage to deal an extra attack to the mid. Okay, but now this is where Meta Killer.SK is stacking up the Wall Gecko and then setting up. Yeah, so let's see if how the opponent is going to get through. Okay, so getting the card draw, which doesn't matter too much, but do add to the consistency of the game plan, I would say. Okay, so did a bit of chip, so I would say not the bad result. So that just means Meta Killer.SK has to heal a bit to put in shield, shield, and shield, I would assume. Yep, really no reason to attack, so just put in all the shield at this point. Yeah, and go from there. So very hard to still get through at this point. Yeah, so let me just see how the opponent ultimately would get through if they do. Okay, just hit, hit, and hit. And even 3 hits doesn't even get through the shields. So decide opt to not even bother. But okay, this is probably the weakest turn, right? Where you do put in the Jinx, and that makes it a lot tougher because you do get the Jinx to deal some damage and also not as much shield. This because you do have a bad draw. Very smart in playing around the fear as well. So by using the beast card first to get the fear. Okay, so yeah, the opponent really making a bit of progress now, shipping the mid quite a bit, and a very unfortunate draw as well for the opponent. I think they should use opt to not even use the strawberry to heal. I think that might be a mistake. If they did heal once, at least the mid will survive, and I think in this case, yeah, the mid actually it does survive just because the opponent draws into the confused. If the opponent did not draw into the confused, the mid will actually have gone down. So very fortunate, but it is a very bad draw in this case, and maybe Meta Killer.SK is opt to let the mid go down and really just bank everything on the back. So let's see, do get the card draw, which is very fortunate, meaning opponent can actually deal 1 attack, which might actually be very significant. That's because this is not quite a bit damage, right? And yeah, unfortunately also getting all the days, and this is maybe one of the ways in which you can actually beat sustain, right? Is do put in a lot of days and a lot of Jinx into their card draw, and so they can't get into the shield, and so literally there's no shield. And now if you do, and they had to resort to using the strawberry, and now just deal very strong damage, but of course opponent very strong with 2 Bloodlust. But still, I mean, putting in the days and the Jinx definitely is the way to go in beating sustain. So that is actually a pretty good demonstration of how this goes. The shield that finally comes, but might be a bit too late at this point. Not even try to risk for Kotaro, just try to survive as much as possible. But the other killer is of course the Bloodlust, is because the Bloodlust do heal the Aqua a lot, and yeah, so that's why it allows the Aqua to survive for many extra turns. And you can see the Meta Killer.SK already used up all the saved up strawberries, and the opponent's still very healthy, so it's gonna be a bit rough, right? And yeah, you can see the card draw is just having the days, and you can't get rid of the days as well, so that is actually pretty important. So now I feel like it's just not enough of the shield. So yeah, opponent just, I think the Bloodlust really seals the deals here, and then just another strong attack, get them in the Blood Moon range, and that is GG for Meta Killer.SK. So so at least now you can see one of the ways in which you can beat this kind of sustain build is really to shuffle in a lot of Jinx card and they don't get to the shield, and that is GG. Right, so it's a pretty long episode, but thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed my video, do consider giving me a like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitch, and use my Lenosian code Morris. Thanks again, and have a good one.